Happy Saturday, everyone. Welcome to another Mandalorian episode review with Kyle here, the Fandalorian from Fandom Media, and Helen from the Clueless Fangirl. We're super excited to be here. Another great episode of The Mandalorian. But without further ado, before we proceed, I have to introduce my lovely co-host, Helen. Helena von Launstein, as some of you may know her, but also the Clueless Fangirl.
That was a long time ago. Yes. Yay. What a great episode. Because, we were, guilty as charged. I said this will be a filler episode last time. Mea culpa. It definitely wasn't. I'm excited to talk about it.
Yeah, a really great episode directed by Carl Weathers, who plays Greef Carga. We're going to get into all that. Just for all of you that are watching, you can find the links to Helen's social media and her channel in the description of the video. Make sure you subscribe and send her all sorts of awesome thank yous and you're awesome and all of that. So you can check all of that in the description of the video. But before we begin, Helen, I think we have to press the soundboard for Maura Lee. My goodness, donating $100, and she says, let me check. This is in honor of Baby Yoda and the armor. Love you, Kyle and Helen. May the force be with you, everyone in the chat and all the viewers. Thank you so much, Maura. Geez, that's just incredibly generous of you. We love you. We appreciate you. She says it's one of her favorite episodes, so we tend to agree with that. We also see, so Maura Lee, thank you. She's in the chat. We also see Kate Bertinsky. She's saying, Baby Yoda force-stealing macaroons. We're going to talk about the funniest moments. There's a lot of that in this episode. Rick Hoppy, the Maestro Coffee, and I'm sure some other people will come join us here as well. So, yeah. Helen, what do you rate the episode out of 5 macaroons? Delicious macaroons.
Oh my God, I would eat them all if I would eat sweets. No, out of 5, isn't it always 10? Okay, 5. So I don't know, like a 4.5, because as you know, it's not about what just happens in the episodes for me. It's more about what it connects to, like how it connects to all the other Star Wars lore and even extended universe stuff. And they're giving us so much. And I must say, I'm very, very sorry because I said Death Troopers, but I did my research. I watched it again and I did my research, and it's not the Death Troopers, but the Dark Troopers. And I think that was even confirmed that it's the Dark Troopers. And
I do have that at the bottom of our document. It is confirmed, Dark Troopers. We're going to get into that, the return of Moff Gideon. But let's kind of just start off with the start of the episode, Helen. There's, like you said, the implications, and by the way, I would also give it 4.5 out of 5. Delicious aqua-colored macaroons.
So please don't puke, right?
Really, like Helen says, there's some big implications. We're going to dedicate a big part of our live stream today on the reappearance of Dr. Pershing, because me and Helen were chatting privately, and we've actually spoke about this and how important this is and how it connects to Rise of Skywalker. Absolutely huge what they did in this episode. So let's go at the start of the episode.
Enter the games, right? So This is not just, they just don't want you to watch now Clone Wars and Rebels and just have a newfound love for the cinematic movies, but it's about the games now as well, which I must admit I haven't played. Have you played Battlefront yet? Or?
No, I haven't played the Battlefront stuff. I played Knights of the Old Republic, the big RPG game like you did. Yeah. Also, a big shout out to Indie Geek in the chat, another fan of The Mandalorian. Of course, I don't need to tell you where to find him. He's a friggin' all-star on YouTube. So anyways, Helen, to start the episode, we got a really, really funny scene with the Mando and Baby Yoda that gave me Guardians of the Galaxy 2 vibes with the Groot. Remember when he had the button and they're like, don't touch the fucking button. And this was just so funny. It was just like, you think that they can't find more original material with Baby Yoda, and they find just the best moments to give to Baby Yoda. And it was cool because we do see in kind of some of the previous episodes, Baby Yoda acting up, like eating the eggs. You know, it's kind of going through this, like, even though he's Baby Yoda, going through like these kind of teen moments, and the Mandalorian's like always pointing his finger at Baby Yoda, don't do that, or trying to teach him a lesson. So what a wonderfully funny moment to start off the episode with, Baby Yoda getting into this hatch where the Mando can't get to, and just absolutely screwing things up. Wow.
And the thing is, you know, what you learn there is that he is not that advanced. But what we learn is, you know, he is literally still a baby, because a lot of people are saying, you know, when they meet Ahsoka, she can teach him to become a Jedi, because we know that the younglings come to the Jedi Temple, or did come to the Jedi Temple as really, really young kids. Even Anakin, with how old was he, like 8, 9? He was assumed to be too old to become a Jedi in training. And but Baby Yoda is too young, because he literally can't, I mean, he can understand stuff. We learn that now, but he can't speak. And if he would meet Ahsoka now, he would be too young to really become like in 1 or 2 years. So they could use him a Jedi in training. So this is interesting that we learn that about him, because
which is even more ironic, because we see Baby Yoda in school after. We're going to talk about that after. Helen, you make a great point. Nobody's teaching Baby Yoda how to speak English or speak any different language. We know that Yoda can communicate in English, but I mean, Yoda's 700, 800 years old. He's had years of training.
900.
900. But he's had all of these years of, you know, having this opportunity to be able to learn through, you know, Jedi Masters. Like everybody has, you know, Yoda was an apprentice at some point. So it's really interesting seeing, and I see some people in the chat talking about it. Just, you know, I think it was Kate. Let me scroll up here. She says his little personality is developing. Not only is his personality developing, but the relationship and the understanding between the Mando and Baby Yoda is also growing as well. Like the Mando put trust in Baby Yoda to try to go do this task. Like this could have really fucked up their ship, and it did. But you know, it's just absolutely hilarious on how they chose to portray this scene, right? Like everybody loves Baby Groot. Baby Groot became before Baby Yoda, but it's just a really, really funny moment to break the ice with all this seriousness that we do see with the rest of the episode.
And you know, it's so cool because what I love about Star Wars is that we slowly learned who was the teacher of who. Like we were talking about Yoda. Yoda was Count Dooku's. Count Dooku was Yoda's Padawan, right? And so it's coming for, you know, and then Count Dooku's Padawan was Qui-Gon, and Qui-Gon was Obi-Wan's master, and Obi-Wan was Anakin's master. So it's like so cool, and Anakin was Ashoka. So this line literally.
Next episode,
exactly. So the line continues. If Ashoka trains Baby Yoda, it comes full circle. It's so cool if you think about it. Yeah.
We'll get into some of that continuation stuff after. Dave Filoni is going to be directing the next episode, so we'll get into kind of some of the points and the brilliance of how the writing is really amazing. We're going to get into that and why all the mythology stuff and kind of just the pacing that they're doing with the season is even better than people think, and we're going to explain why that is. So yeah, really, really fun way to start the episode. And the Mando ship in bad shape. He recognizes that, like, hey, they can't make it to this forest planet where
so blame them on calamari, right?
Yeah. So Corvus is the name of this forest planet where Ahsoka is hiding out. We're assuming there's probably going to be more Jedi. Maybe it's just her and some Luke's, like some Luke scenario. But we go back to Navarro, which is the volcanic-like planet where we see Greef, Carga, and Cara Dune. Really good to see those characters again. And we find out, Helen, that Cara Dune is the marshal, much like we saw Cobb Vamp with on Mos Pelgo of Navarro. Very cool moment.
Yeah. So it's so cool because, again, you get the Western vibe, right? With all the corps and the marshals. And I really like that. Did you spot? Because I saw it just before we started for a second time to take some notes.
So you're saying you rewatched the episode like an hour before, like I did, like so we can get it right in our brains, right?
Yeah, no, the thing is, whenever I watch it for the first time, because I'm in Europe, so I'm a bit ahead of you. So when I watched it on Friday, I just see it, to enjoy it.
Yeah.
And then I always watch it a second time to take some notes. And I noticed that there was literally on the marketplace, did you see the statue of IG-11, which, I mean, dude saved all of them. And now he has a statue in the market. I don't know if any one of you spotted that, but when they enter the school, there was literally, the office, Greef Carga's office, there was a statue of IG-11. I love these
and
little...
he saved their lives, right? Yeah.
Did, yes, in the last episode. And I really love these little things, with all the scribblings on the wall and with the little Easter eggs. Yes, that was really cool.
We kind of get another Easter egg too. The droid that's teaching in the school that they've established is a 3PO droid. We see, they're doing all these callbacks, and they know, like Dave Filoni. Let's just be honest. Dave Filoni knows what Star Wars fans really love.
Yeah,
and they've been really, they're not putting too much of it in, but they're putting enough to keep your interest in each episode, and they're building on that. And they're apparently signed for 5-6 seasons, which is really good to tell totality of the story that they want, but just giving us those little pieces of mythology that we've all grown to love in Star Wars is just really funny. So really interesting point. Of course, we see Greef Carga say, hey, do a full repair of the Mando ship. And then at that moment, like right away, I knew that one of those people God, the
second that alien looked back, I was like, something's dodgy is going on, like, I mean, we know all these kind of scenes from the hangars where in Mos Eisley, for example, where when they meet Han and and when the spy's there with the little mic and telling Jabba that they found him, so it's really cool. It's a cool reference to those scenes from the OG movies. But
how many of you in chat caught that right away? Because as soon as I saw, I was like, shit. You know what I mean? Because we get this like really positive moment, and of the reuniting of this trio, this group, and we see Greef Carga having a great moment with Baby Yoda. But the second they leave, I was like, oh, I just felt that ominous. Yeah. So people in chat, Peter Griffin is saying, and he caught that right away too. And I just knew. I was like, it's too good to be true, because Moff Gideon was on this planet in the last episode, cutting himself out of his ship. And then where is he? Nowhere to be found. Like they've just miraculously swept the planet of all of the Empire's forces. We find out that that's not the case, though, Helen, as the episode is called The Siege. And Greef Carga is trying to get the Mando and Mithral, who appeared in the first episode of the series. That was the bounty that he was supposed to take on. He's there paying off
and
his
he was
debt and
frozen
sentence.
in carbon. Yeah, and like Han, he was frozen in carbonite.
He's like, oh man, that being in carbonite was so rough. And he's just like, he's got like what, 234-year sentence. He's working it off with Greef Carga.
Well, the thing is, that was funny. And he said, keep counting. We don't know how long does this species live, but I guess that's like 3 times his lifespan or something like that. But I mean, he got a reduction, like.
And Greef Carga is being a real dick to him. He's like really harsh on him. So he's like, listen, don't talk back to me. All these other funny moments happen later on. But that was, we don't always get to see some of these characters come back. Like, when I do my Witcher podcast, we kind of talk about some of these things. There's not a lot of characters that come back from these short stories. And, we're only in the 2nd season of The Mandalorian. So it is nice to see that we get the return of some of these characters that we didn't necessarily think we would see again.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's really cool. Well, we knew that Cara would be back, and if Cara Weathers is directing the episode, we kind of knew that he would be in this episode. But still.
Helen, we also get Cara Dune fighting off all of those aliens who are discussing how to split the spoils that were left over from the Mandalorians sect, the Death Watch. So there, we get another, and I found this really interesting. We'll talk about the last scene towards the end of the live stream, but I found it really interesting. The moments that they did show Cara Dune in this episode kind of felt like a preview for a spinoff that they might be teasing, like they might be getting it into our minds that some of these characters could be getting a spinoff series.
Has is not confirmed though, right? I do think what I had
like a woman Avengers type Star Wars series with Cara Dune and Ahsoka and Bo-Katan. We spoke a little bit about that in the last live stream, but yeah, go ahead, Helen.
Yeah, so because Carson Terra, the pilot who was in the previous episode or in 2 episodes ago,
Carson Tama, I believe, right?
Exactly. So he's working for the New Republic, and that was the guy who said, something is going on in the galaxy. And he gave her a New Republic badge. And I do think this will not play out in The Mandalorian, but this could be a hint that there will be a spin-off show, because they mentioned Alderaan and all that, and Coruscant for the first time.
They can't really explore that in the Mando, like they don't have enough time.
Exactly. And Mandalorian is Outer Rim, and this is what they want to show. There are the core worlds, which is Coruscant, and Alderaan is dead now, but destroyed, dead. Destroyed now, but Coruscant and all these other inner core planets. But so I do think this could be a cool twist. The Mandalorian stays in the Outer Rim, like the lawless regions, and there. I love the politics, and I do think that they need the core worlds and stuff we already know from the OG movies. And that could be a hint, because she's from Alderaan. And and so maybe she's going back to her kind of old job and old employees, and maybe she's taking up that badge. And
We did see her personality develop in this episode. I thought that they did do great character development in this episode. And one point I do want to make, Helen, is you do make a great point on the kind of notes that the Mandalorian is trying to hit. We talked about the Kurosawa-esque lone wolf and cub vibes, the westerny vibes, the space western that they're trying to really hit on. They're trying to show us the working class families of the Outer Rim. Like we seen that, when they went to Mos Pelgo, we saw that displayed in the first episode with Cobb Vanth, and we saw how people are just trying to survive with the remnants of the Empire just kind of being scattered over. One thing
that they don't care. They don't care who's in power now. The Empire, the New Republic, to them in the Outer Rim, it's all the same. It's just somebody who's not really important for that. It's just another army coming in and, like making new rules. It is very interesting that
it's like Democrats and Republicans, kind of like Republicans doing all of these terrible things and saying, having this power, and then Democrats not being able to clean up the whole mess, essentially, kind of.
Yeah, no, what I mean is they don't really care for the politics. They literally just want to survive. They don't care who the emperor is. There an emperor? Is there a new emperor? They don't really care which faction. They literally just want to survive in the Outer Rim. And I love that they show it like that. And they don't care who's in power on Coruscant. They don't care about the Jedi. They have other things to worry about. Yeah, I like that.
Well, they're of course, Cara Dune, she's obviously the super athletic, not your typical, female character. She's buff. She's a fighter. So I got some great character development in this episode where they softened her a little bit. And Kate mentions in the chat, I love that little space meerkat thing. That was super cute. And they were showing more of her empathy, right? They really played up her empathy in this episode. Her protecting the kids in school. Like that's obviously a thing that requires some honor, right? Like protecting people that are weaker than you. And her, they're playing on this whole idea of these things can't be safe without these kinds of people like Cara and the Mando and the galaxy doing the right thing. So I'm with you, Helen. I really they're displaying a lot of hints about the kind of further stories that the threading of the needle that they're really putting in this episode, kind of teasing us on some of the stories that could get an expansion later on in the Mando. So I really liked what they did. And, I was kind of disappointed that we didn't get more of her after, some of the stuff that we got in season 1, but this is nice. And I do think that we're going to see more of her and Greef Karga kind of trying to help the Mando fight off some of the Empire with the reveal that we got later on in the episode. So I thought that they did that well this episode.
Yeah.
So yeah, great Cara Dune stuff. And then, of course, we get the awesome stuff at the Empire's base, Helen. A lot of great fight scenes in this episode. Really great choreography and just great teamwork, all the different personalities kind of disagreeing on how to do things. What did you think about there was all of these great scenes, them fighting the stormtroopers, the speeder bike stuff, the great chase scene, like a Fast and Furious chase scene with the speeder bikes, and Greef Carga with the weapons.
Literally, I mean, this is another shot at the stormtroopers, right? Because you remember from Return of the Jedi, you know, where they had these chasing scenes with Leia and who was that? Was it Leia and Luke? I do not really remember, but Leia was in there. And now they're literally killing themselves. You don't even have to kill them. They're crashing the bikes themselves. And I was like, okay, so they're not only really bad shots, this is now, you know, they really need those dark troopers because, you know, they are shit.
Yeah, I really noticed that too. I'm like, why did they do that? And then I realized how bad it was. I'm like, they did that on purpose because they're such bad shots. Two of them just automatically jump off the side of the mountain, speeder bikes, billion dollars go. And, you know, I thought that was really funny as well.
Yeah.
So Helen, shall we just jump? So we know what they're trying to do, right? They're going through they're trying to disable. This is kind of the last bastion of power that the Empire has in the planet. Greef Carga, when they're going over the map in his office with Cara, they're saying that, you know, this is the region that's safe, but the rest, if we don't get rid of this base, they're going to continue to establish kind of, you know, more bases around the planet. And if we get rid of this one, we've got a real chance to make Navarro a trading hub, which is a big deal, right? That would mean that more people can move there, and they can really start to establish this economy in the Outer Rim, help people out that are struggling after the Empire kind of dominated, you know, this area for so long. So that was a really important point that they were making, right? Like, hey, like, listen, if we can do this, we can kind of probably liberate the Outer Rims, because we'll have New Republic people come through and, you know, come here to trade. We'll have, you know, the idea that the Empire doesn't run shit anymore. We liberated this planet with like regular people, like people that are left over from the war. So what were your thoughts on that?
Sorry, I was reading the chat.
I saw that you were distracted in the chat.
Sorry.
There's a really great conversation going on in chat, though. I love it.
Yes. Yeah. Sorry. About the fire breathing. No. Yeah. Sorry. What was?
I was just talking about their plan to make Navarro a trading hub and getting rid of the Empire, like establishing this kind of safe hub in the Outer Rim.
Yeah, but the interesting thing is, you know, after Return of the Jedi, you think, oh yeah, you know, that there will be the New Republic. Leia and all her allies have won. Mon Mothma now, you know, wants to demilitarize everything, and everything is good and perfect, and people were dancing in the streets and celebrating the victory, right? The Empire did fall, and now this is so cool that they show it now, because this plays out then later in how Snoke and how the First Order came back to power. And I cannot stress enough to read the Aftermath novels, because everything that happens is explained there. And it's kind of, I do think this is all part of the contingency plan. And if you haven't heard about that, Kyle will make a video about it, because it's really cool. Please make a video about it, Kyle.
Well, one thing that we do get kind of the establishment of is, you said the First Order. We get the vibes of that at the end of the episode with Moff Gideon, right? Teasing that. So go ahead, Helen. Yeah, that's what I was...
And this is so cool, because why would they even need to get rid of the Empire? Isn't the Empire destroyed? No, it's not. But what I find super interesting, what plays into this is, you know, we know that I do think most of the Star Destroyers did fall on Jakku, right? So there was the Battle of Jakku. That was literally the last battle. If you guys remember that you saw all the Star Destroyers on Jakku, this was the Battle of Jakku, and all the Star Destroyers fell there. And I do think I have to look this up. I took a note because I did not remember the name. So Moff Gideon's ship, it was not a Star Destroyer. You might think, you know, he's so powerful, he's working for Snoke, the Emperor, whoever, or on his own. We don't know yet. But he doesn't have a Star Destroyer. He just has a Arquitton class. I have no idea. I'm probably butchering this. Arquitton class light cruiser. And this is, what I say and what you said with they still have little bases here and there in the outer rim, but not really. And so at this point, it's not yet... they're not yet as powerful as they'll become later. But it's interesting. They still have ships. They still have bases. And you think after The Last Jedi, they're destroyed, right? But no, this is the contingency plan of Palpatine, which basically says, when the king falls, it's like chess. And when the king falls, there needs to be a plan so this group can still survive. And this is the contingency plan. It's super cool. Look it up, people. It's good stuff.
Well, speaking of plans, this isn't the base that we thought it was, Helen, because we get the big reveal that Dr. Pershing talked to Moff Gideon 3 days previous. And when Mythrol is going through all the controls, this is maybe the most important reveal conversation that we've had so far in The Mandalorian. Yeah. Would you agree?
Yes.
Okay, so me and Helen are going to dissect this chat. I'm sure all of you notice this conversation as well and how important it is. I'm just going to go through everything Dr. Pershing said, and then we're going to kind of break it all down because it's really important. Yeah. So here's the exact everything that Dr. Pershing said. The trial had positive effects for a fortnight. So a fortnight is 14 nights, 2 weeks, but the body rejected the blood. So whose body? We don't know. I highly doubt we will find a donor with a higher M count. M count is very, very important because if we go back to the prequels, we learn that Anakin has very high M count, midichlorians. And midichlorians are what determines how strong you are in the Force. So we're talking about Baby Yoda here. He recommends they suspend all further experimentation, and he fears the volunteer will meet the same regrettable fate if they proceed with the transfusion. We find out that they were only able to take a small amount of Baby Yoda's blood. We now find out that they took his blood, and they exhausted that blood supply, Helen, which is really important, meaning they can't continue the experiments. However, if they were to continue the experiments, they would need access to Baby Yoda. And we do know that Moff Gideon still hasn't gave that up. The child, Baby Yoda, that's who he's after. Then Dr. Pershing says to end it, he will not disappoint Moff Gideon again. So now we have the clear answer as to why they're taking Baby Yoda. Now, before we go forward, those vats, Helen, do you think that's Snoke? Those are clone Snokes? Or Snoke clones?
Which ones? The one in the tank?
Mm-hmm.
Yes or no?
I was looking at the skull, and I think it's Snoke clones.
Yeah, the person in the tank.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the water. Yes, because you could see a scar there. I personally don't think it's Palpatine because we talked about it. I don't think they will bring Palpatine as like visually into this. They will bring the ideas and that he might be behind this.
But we agree that the volunteer is Palpatine. Like they're doing this for Emperor Palpatine. They're like, why?
I'm not sure if whether. Yeah, but the thing is, I'm not sure because like in some canon books, you still have people working on their own, like Ray Sloan and all these people. They're no longer completely fully working for the Emperor. I don't know if Carga, if Moff Gideon, if Moff Gideon is working on his own, or if this is all the Palpatine contingency plan. But I do think this is Snoke in the tank. And what is super interesting, what you just said, because we were talking about, is Moff Gideon Force sensitive? No, because otherwise they wouldn't need Baby Yoda. What could be is that they were talking about the count, the midichlorian count, because we know, I remember Anakin had something like Qui-Gon said 20,000 midichlorian count, even more than Yoda, who at that time had the highest count countable. Count.
They're saying they can't find someone with a higher count than Baby Yoda.
But the thing is, I don't think Moff Gideon is force sensitive. I do not. I wondered about that, but now I think it's confirmed he's not, because otherwise they could have used his blood. Look, what we know is that this was tried before by Count Dooku, actually. If you guys remember, one of my favorite characters, General Grievous, the guy with 1,000 arms and 1,000 light swords fighting Obi. So Count Dooku tried to, so there was the Jedi Master Sifo Dyas. Sifo Dyas was the one who went to Kamino. So this is the connection again.
And Dr. Pershing has the patch of Kamino on his
Kamino.
jacket. Yeah.
Exactly. So there was a Jedi Master. His name was Sifo Dyas. Sifo Dyas went to Kamino and ordered, without the Jedi knowing, this is what Obi-Wan later he gets to know this, and he ordered the clone army, right? This is what set everything into action. And Sifo Dyas died, and Count Dooku tried to bring the essence or something like they're trying here to Grievous. So make Grievous force sensitive. But it didn't work. We know that. And now they're trying something similar here.
And the thing I find so interesting about it, Helen, is the words that they're using. And the chat is pointing this out, like the word volunteer. Highly doubt that this person is a volunteer. They're working for this person. So the set of words, the words that they were using, I think were really important in this conversation. It's if they were to use a separate set of words, could kind of, go through our heads. Well, it's this person, right? Like like this person is not a volunteer. This person they are working for is much more powerful than them. Because
oh my god, sorry. Oh my god, John Haymaker. Sorry, we need to. Pulp demands a Medichlorian recount. Oh my god. But you made my day, John.
The making fun of Trump through Star Wars memes is really awesome.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
But both me and Helen hate Trump, so it's all good.
What? No, I'm not outing myself as anything political here. I just love to talk about Star Wars politics.
Palpatine is a narcissist. You're right. He craves power like most Sith do.
I love Palpatine. Hello?
Wait, where's my Palpatine? It's up there. You can't see it. But Helen actually got it for. She keeps on getting me evil people Funko Pops. Sauron. She's got me Sauron. She's got me fucking Emperor Palpatine. I don't know who's next. But anyways, Helen likes to get me evil people Funko Pops.
I just like the baddies. I have a thing for baddies. Everybody needs a good baddie. If you remember, my first name was if you remember, my first name was Make Mordor Great Again. I still stand by that.
It's rude. It's rude of you to just send me evil people Funko Pops. But anyways, Helen, this conversation, we both agree, is super important. Obviously we didn't get very much time with Werner Herzog's The Client. We weren't sure. I actually mentioned Dr. Pershing our last review, and I said, I wonder if we'll see him again. Like, wonder if they're going to touch on that. And I mentioned this very point on why they were using Baby Yoda. So I don't know if I spoke it into existence. I highly doubt that, because we knew that this was going to come back again, Helen, and that it was going to be an important talking point. But the fact that they're mentioning in episode 4 of season 2, like this is like with Ahsoka coming in, Bo-Katan, like the stakes are getting higher and higher, and it's starting to get really interesting. So I think that we're starting to get some bigger payoffs, is what I'm saying.
Yes.
So, let's just kind of have a quick debate before we, and chat, you can join in on this too. Was Moff Gideon talking about, like, they're trying to establish Supreme Leader Snoke? Like they're trying, like, could it be Supreme Leader Snoke we're just talking about here? I mean, it seems to be Supreme Leader Snoke's clone body or whatever it is in that tank. So it could be Supreme Leader Snoke. It could be Palpatine. I kind of want to see what everybody's thoughts on it are in the chat. What do you think, Helen? Are they trying to basically get Supreme Leader Snoke's clone perfect so they can establish the First Order. Because like this is the start when the First Order starts to really get established. So is that what they're trying to go with? Or is it Palpatine? Because we know that Palpatine survived because we got the Rise of Skywalker. So it's kind of a debate that people.
But he was on Exegol. Yeah, but he was on Exegol. So I do not think it's Palpatine. I do think it's Snoke. It's a pre-version of Snoke because look, we see in Rise of Skywalker, we see that there were many attempts to clone Snoke. I do not think this is the Snoke we later know. I think this is one of the first attempts because you see the failed attempts in Rise of Skywalker, right? So
when he's on Exegol, we see all the vats of Snoke. We see all the different, and then that's when we know that Snoke was cloned.
Yeah. Yeah, and you saw that it had like a scar and it looked weird and twisted, and I do think this shows they need to make progress because it's not working.
Well, it could be both, like Maura Lee is saying in the chat. Short-term Snoke, long-term Palpatine. Like they could really do that to a short-term Snoke, then Palpatine. Like because this could be a thing that continues through all 5 seasons. I mean, it's that big of stakes, right? We know that the Empire is having issues, right? The New Republic is trying to establish themselves, and they seem to be doing quite well. And so that is actually a great point, Maura. It could be both, right? Because if they're trying to do Snoke, this could lead to them having success if Palpatine is trying to get revived and into power. Because we do know, we mentioned in the last time we chatted on the live stream, Helen, that Palpatine was trying to drain the Force from Ben Solo and Rey. So that's he needed Force too, and they had high midichlorian counts. So So Peter Griffin says, I don't think Palp is the volunteer, and they're trying to get a match. People are saying it's most likely Snoke. And you guys are hilarious with the midichlorian count shit. And the timeline does make a difference though, Helen, right? Like this, like I said, the first, like the Moff Gideon could be like one of the establishers of the First Order, and that's kind of where we're at. So they could be saving, you know, the bigger stakes stuff like Palpatine for later on, like later seasons.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was Ray Sloan and Armitage Huck's father. What was his name? Whatever his name was, and yeah, you know the funny guy, and him and his father Ray Sloan, they escaped, and they kind of were the founders of the First Order. This is all we know from the new cinematic movies, but apparently, this is what I think now. If you have the Snow clone there, it makes sense that Moff Gideon is one of the additional people of the original founders of the First Order.
Yeah.
If he's not working on his own, I mean, it could be that later he splits up, or we don't know. We don't know.
Well, regardless, we know that Dr. Pershing is in contact with Moff Gideon, and he says, I'm not going to fail you again. So he works for at least Moff Gideon, but whoever Moff Gideon is working for is the question that really needs to get answered, because Moff Gideon is doing this for someone else, not himself. So that's kind of
this is what I said. He's not the biggest fish. You know, we thought in the first episodes when we got introduced to the client, well, he's a very high-ranked Imperial, but he wasn't really, because there was Moff Gideon above him, but Moff Gideon is not the one calling the shots. I'm 100% sure. Although I do think, what do you think? Will he die in like this season, or maybe the next season, or is he the main antagonist?
Well, he had an interview, and he's teased that there was going to be 5, 6. He was the person that teased that there was going to be 5, 6 seasons of The Mandalorian. He said they're going to continue to expand on Mandalorian lore, Empire lore.
Yeah.
He got really pumped talking about lightsaber battles, and we know that if Ahsoka's coming in, that means there's going to be Big Fish Jedi coming in the story. And and Ahsoka's a big fish, right? Like she's one of the last surviving Jedis at this point. Obi is dead. They're all dead. Yoda, they're all dead. High ranking, and she's like no one to be fucked with. Like she knows her shit.
Yeah, although she's no longer a Jedi. She doesn't. identify as a Jedi anymore.
Just as much as the Mandalorian. I mean, he identifies as the Death Watch, but I think we're gonna see him identify more with the other side. But we know that Ahsoka will take more to the side that is doing the right thing, is what we're saying. Like, she will fight for Baby Yoda, and people. She's not going to join the Empire, even though she has her issues with the Jedi. But I think it's really important, Helen. We talked about how we were going to talk about the Dark Troopers at the end of the episode. Moff Gideon, obviously he's had his issues. He lost his first kind of fight with the Mandoin team, but it's looking much worse for them because they have spies on Navarro, which is an issue after they've been reestablishing power there. And like, how many Dark Troopers were there? Like 20, 18, like 18, 20?
Yeah.
So there was a lot. And that's an issue because Mando now has a tracking device on his ship, and he's going to Corvus, where Ahsoka is. And Helen, I'm just going to throw up my prediction for the next episode. I think Ahsoka Tano is going to have the most badass introduction. She's going to fucking save the Mando from these people, and she's going to...
From the Dark Troopers,
yeah. There's no way that they're going to introduce Ahsoka Tano, one of the most popular characters in all the Star Wars universe. There's no way they're not going to introduce her with lightsaber goodness. Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, no, definitely. And you saw in the last season of Clone Wars, you saw how good of a duelist she became. I mean, Anakin was her bloody mentor, right? Her master. So obviously she's good, but she is, she fought Darth Vader, So... yeah.
The fact that she could hold her own versus Darth Vader is a big deal. Also for those, and then all the Ezra stuff, her going to seek out Ezra, her becoming like a space Gandalf. Some people have made that joke, but Ahsoka wearing the white robes and the hood, and her kind of going like the Gandalf the gray, Gandalf the white.
Great Jedi, yeah. And her lightsaber is white, yellow. We don't know. Was it white? Was it yellow? Now, like the temple guards, for example, theirs were yellow.
Ahsoka is very wise as well, Helen. We see her grow as a character, like when she was with Anakin. Anakin was always kind of this person with a temper and this kind of immaturity to him. And Ahsoka kind of took on some of the qualities of Anakin as well. She made mistakes. She was this immature. She had her temper tantrums.
Annoying kid.
Yeah, but then as she grew older, she really started to understand that it wasn't just, bad versus good. There was all this, like you said, gray Jedi. I don't really like to use that term. You're more well-versed in this kind of stuff than me. But I at this point, Ahsoka's going to be a lot older when she gets introduced. And she must be around.
Yeah. Exactly. She must be around mid-40s,
like 45 or something like that.
Yeah, mid 40. Yeah, and I do think actually Katie Sackhoff's character, so Bo-Katan, should be 50-ish, a bit older. I mean,
and Katie Sackhoff is 40 in real life, and Rosario Dawson is 43, I believe.
Yeah, so it makes sense. It's all good because I saw people complaining online. Now I was like, just zip it. But yeah, Dark Troopers. Should we talk about them? Because the thing is, when I first saw it, I wasn't sure, do they want to use the blood or do they want to also experiment on the troopers, on the 20 we saw there, to make them force sensitive, because that is also in canon. Or was it Legends? I do not really remember. There were not only Death Troopers, Dark Troopers, there were other troopers who were force sensitive and who fought with, I do think I remember red lightsabers. I'm not 100% sure, but I think so. And they were force sensitive. So it were actually like cyborgs who were force sensitive. But that was really cool. And I thought first this could be the case for them. So what do you think? Is it just the experiments on the clone and on Palpatine and on
well, Helen,
Snoke?
I think that we should also mention that Darth Vader's armor is, that was phase 0 of the Dark Trooper, right? Like this, they're starting to develop that now, and we do see kind of some of the droidy stuff during the Siege of Mandalore, but it is important to note that Darth Vader's armor was kind of phase 0 of that, and now they're getting beyond that development. Like, they're starting to get more advanced. These are exoskeleton armor
Yeah, there are four phases for exactly. So there are four phases of the Dark Trooper. So one Imperial general, his name was Ron Mock. What a name. So General Ron Mock, he created them, and there were four phases. So the first phase, they were not as powerful. They were just cyborgs who could fight. But the fourth phase, but I do not think, I'm not sure which phase these ones are and where he got them from. But the fourth phase, they were really, really powerful. And actually, they were too expensive for the Empire to produce. They were so effective and so good. So looking forward to the fight with them and Ashoka. But they were too expensive to produce. And in the end, a Jedi master killed this Ron Mock guy and destroyed the ship where all the troopers were on. But apparently some survived, or the technique survived, and Moff Gideon is using it now. So I do think these are phase 4, I would assume.
Yeah. It's really interesting because we see like we're seeing this Empire in this kind of like development phase, like, for example, a team wins the Super Bowl and then a few later they lose all their best players, and then they have to start to redevelop their team. We're kind of seeing the Empire in that phase where they lost the big battle and they're starting to have to develop things again, right? Like, what changes for them to not lose again? Right? Like, they have to be in the situation, well, we can't just be in the same spot. We just lost the big battle. So they're in this phase where they're starting to develop clones. We see that on the base of Navarro. And then we see on Moff Gideon's ship, we're starting to see Dark Troopers. So we're starting to see all of these different phases that the Empire is going through in the darkness, starting to really carry out their plans, which is a big concern, right? And we know that the Mandalorians are scattered, and the Jedi, there's not many Jedi left. So this is a big friggin' deal once Ahsoka's going to learn about this. And, they're in the Outer Rim, but they're going to have to start to get some allies together, because this is going to start to connect to some of the overarching big things, the big battle for the universe and power and basically survival.
Yeah, and I don't think that the New Republic will help them, because this is exactly what they are teasing now, and this is what happens later when you know of the Rebel Alliance. Why is Leia in the Rebel Alliance? Leia becomes a rebel again because Mon Mothma and all these people do not believe there is a threat happening and going on. This is what Carson Farah is saying. He says, the core worlds don't really care, but I do think the more I'm here and I learn things, the more I see something is going on. But all the politicians and the New Republic, they're like, no, we won. This is all good. We don't really care. We're doing politics again now.
And that's how fascism comes back.
And this is how exactly. And it's interesting because you have these, and this is why Leia then later splits up and her group become rebels again. So because she says, no, there is still a threat. We didn't win. There's something going on. And it's interesting that it's explained here how this happens and how it happened in the Outer Rim.
So really, like, the stakes, this episode, Helen, not a filler episode.
No, really? My God, no. I loved it. It was a short one and not that much happened, like the quest and everything. It wasn't that big, but those few moments we got and the reveals is amazing. I don't know if, like the casual show watcher who's not as geeky as we are did get all the references, but it's still an entertaining show. But for me, as somebody who's really, a sucker for all this, it was one of the best episodes, not cinematically, just, oh my God, what does that mean? So we learn. I do think Moff Gideon is not force sensitive. Baby Yoda is... Baby Yoda can't be trained as a Jedi right now, not for many, many years, because he can't stick wires together. How can he be a Jedi in 2 years and help the cause? We learned.
We could see a time jump at some point, though, possibly with this kind of series. You know what I mean? We saw Star Wars is something that you can do time jumps with. It's really interesting that you do say that too, Helen. Like the fact that we're getting, oh my God, Maura Lee. Jeez. She says for Ahsoka. Well, Maura, I think that we're going to see Ahsoka. I'm like
Next episode.
Dave Filoni is coming back. So everybody, let's spam some hearts for Maura Lee in the chat, please. But to your point, Helen, like the fact that we're getting Ahsoka next episode, we're getting all of these revelations coming out, the stakes are coming so much higher. It's so interesting that they could fit so much, like even people are complaining about the size of the episodes, but they don't feel like they're 30 minutes. You know what I mean? Like next episode could be 45 minutes because we're getting Ahsoka. Chances are it's going to be longer. In the second half of the season, we're going to get some longer episodes. Like, if we go back to last season, episode 7 and 8 were both, I think, an hour, like 56 minutes, 55 minutes. So those episodes were a lot bigger. But I think the one thing that we do have to point out, a show like Game of Thrones, you have so many different POVs you have to focus on. There's not a main character per se. But the thing the Mandalorian benefits from is that Baby Yoda and the Mandalorian are the main characters. And we're focused mainly on their POV. And they're really, while other characters are complimenting them, like Cara Dune and Greef Carga, and they're going off on all these side missions and quests and stuff like that, it's still, they're doing the main story right. The writing is fantastic. So I think that it's really interesting how they're structuring things and the Mandalorian, and how, like I said, the Kurosawa-esque Lone Wolf and Cub vibes. If you go back and watch those movies and how they structure those movies, the majority of the POV is with those characters, that relationship. That's the most important thing, is the Mando and Baby Yoda's relationship. So I think that they're really fucking nailing that.
Yeah. And the thing is, Star Wars, what is Star Wars about? Star Wars is the story of father and sons, or families, but a lot is father and son, right? And Anakin or Darth Vader and Luke. Then, you have Han and what's his name, Kylo, and it's a very, and now we have that again. And what did we learn from that? If you take a kid away, this is what the Jedi did. They were taking away the children from their parents at a very young age, and they didn't want them to get attached, and they were not allowed to love and all that stuff. And this is what Qui-Gon and a lot of people then said, this is actually kind of wrong. So my thought is thinking a bit like to the future, because he wants to find somebody he can give the child to. But we now learn that they bonded, and it is a father and son relationship, right? Like Baby Yoda is mimicking him, and it is a father and son relationship. So if he has to give up the child and give it to the Jedi, again, history repeats itself. What will happen?
Look at the familial bonds between Chewbacca and Han. They considered each other to be brothers, best friends. They're not the same race, but you make a great point, Helen.
Yeah,
borders beyond race is a really great.
Yeah, and it's, you can be a father, an adopted father. It doesn't, doesn't mean it has to be your blood, but it's more the father and son relationship, and then taking the child away from that and handing it over to the Jedi. And, well, I don't know if that would be the right thing to do. And maybe this is what we will, I don't know, in season 3 or season 4, what might be problematic. And I don't even know if Ashoka knows what happened to Anakin, right? What became of Anakin. And it is interesting. Would she even be interested in taking the baby and train it as a Jedi? Because she turned her back to the Jedi. So
she might suggest that Baby Yoda might be better off with the Mando, and they just get the hell out of there.
Yeah. Look, Tinkerbell is saying it as well. I want Baby Yoda to stay with the Mandalorian. I feel the same. But then, think about the new canon. This is like Luke founded that school for Jedi where Kylo was at, and then Kylo freaked, and we know what happened then. But maybe, Ashoka must know that. Sorry, my cats are going crazy over here.
I see your blinds keep on moving back and forth.
Yeah. I don't know what happened.
It's super interesting, Helen, because we talked about in our last live stream how important it is for the Mando to keep on his helmet, right?
Yeah.
Like he's been taught this idea since he was a child that this is the way, right? But then they're jumping up and down in the blinds. It's actually so hilarious. But I think this is what I think will happen at the end of the Mandalorian series. I think he will go back to the fishing planet with Mira, where he takes off his helmet and Baby Yoda's there, and he will end up being the protector of that planet, and they will settle there. And Ahsoka and Bo-Katan and other people will be dealing with the politics of the galaxy and the bigger fights. And that's why they're introducing these people. I think that's if the Mandalorian lives, by the way. We could see some sort of tragic ending where Baby Yoda is free, at least on this planet. But I do think at some point the Mandalorian is going to take off his helmet and find out that there's more to life than just being this bounty hunter. Like he's going to want kind of the slice of the pie that Captain America talked about, that Iron Man, gave him some advice on. We saw at the end of Avengers Endgame, Tony Stark told him to live his life beyond being Captain America. So I think that you're right in that kind of thread. It's that same kind of idea that we could see hopefully explored at the end of the series. We don't always get happy endings, but I kind of think that they planted that seed really early on with us. But you're right. Yeah. Like Ahsoka might just say like, well, fuck, like things are, what am I going to do? I'm one person. I can't like the Jedi, we're almost wiped out. What are we going to do for you?
Yeah, no, and I agree. Tinkerbell says it as well. I think Ahsoka will tell Din that she is no Jedi, and the baby will be better off in if he doesn't join the Jedi. I do really think something similar. But then there's always, like I said, there's always Luke's school. So she could tell him, but there is someone else. And I don't think though Luke will come into play. I don't think the Emperor. I think this is a step too far, or too close to the cinematic movies. I think they will hint at it, but I don't think that would be too much.
I'll tell you exactly what I think is going to happen with Ahsoka's arc. Here's what's going to happen. There's two scenarios. One, Mandalorian shows up there. Dark Troopers, Moff Gideon attack right away. Ahsoka saves them. Boom. Like this is crazy right off the bat. And then then we find out more about that later. Or we could get into another scenario where he does find Ahsoka and it's like this more calm meeting in the beginning. Ahsoka tells them, hey, like I'm not interested, kind of in the way that Luke wasn't interested in training Rey. And then Ahsoka finds out that the stakes are much higher and that the Empire have their best elite guard with Moff Gideon are there. Yeah. And then she realizes, well, fuck, I can't just say no. Right? Yeah. So she's going to be put in a difficult position because the Mandalorian has a tracking device on the Razor Crest. And I kind of think that you're right, that Ahsoka will be like, no, but it's going to be like Luke coming to help with Kylo and letting the rebels get enough time to escape the planet. I kind of think there's going to be that kind of scenario where Ahsoka is dismissive, but then she really doesn't have a choice because if she doesn't help, they're going to die. And then the Empire would get this incredibly lucrative piece of information that they want, or item that they want, Yoda's blood. And I think that that's going to be important to her, keeping that away from the Empire, whether she likes this situation or not. She's going to realize, well, I can't let them have Baby Yoda. Then they're going to create a bunch of super powerful, and then they'll just take over the galaxy again. So Ahsoka is going to be put in an incredibly difficult situation, whether she likes it or not, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, yeah, definitely. And we know she is friends because they fought together on Mandalore. She helped Bo-Katan to fight against Maul. And so I do think that she will come back. Katie Sackhoff will come back as Bo-Katan. So that is so cool. We get all these characters in season 2. I didn't expect all of that happening. I didn't expect them to reveal that much, to bring in kind of Cypher-Diaz and kind of all these ideas with Camino and all of that. Oh my God, what's happening in the chat? Yeah. So one last question about the stuff you read out, because this is what I also noticed, is that Dr. Pershing said that blah, 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 whatever they tried has the same fate. So I didn't understand what he meant with the same fate. So was there somebody before, like they apparently had blood from a force sensitive being that then died, because I think he's referring to blood they took and then, try to whatever. And because he said he's too small, I can't take more blood, otherwise he might die, and he will end up blah 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 the same fate. So who did they have before?
And that's really important information, Helen, because I think the Mando is going to relay that information to Ahsoka if she becomes dismissive, like, hey, why were they taking Baby Yoda's blood? And she may be aware of them already doing something like that. Like there may be a connection between Mando and Ahsoka through that very conversation of what Dr. Pershing says. Because if they're including it, someone else has got like Ahsoka's a pretty damn good detective. We know that from her time in Clone Wars and in the animated series. So the fact that Mando has that knowledge of what Dr. Pershing is talking about, Ahsoka could already know about this. Like, you know what I mean? So I think that's...
But who was it? But yeah. I'm thinking, who was it? Because literally, okay, there were a handful of Jedi literally still being alive after the Battle of Jakku, Yavin,
Did they take some of the Jedi that they killed from the Order 66? Did they take some of those Jedi? Did they recover? Did they just wipe them all out? Because we saw them all wiped out, but did they capture any is the question.
But Order 66 is so many years ago. Like, what did they... Where that was... Those Jedi would have been ancient at that time. So, and literally a handful survived. Maybe, the Inquisitors, they were out to find force sensitive beings. Maybe they have something like that still going on. Because
and maybe Ahsoka's on that planet because of that too.
Yeah, because we saw bloody Broom Kid. I just want to mention Broom Kid again. Never forget Broom Kid. So there are force sensitive children and beings out there. I'm just thinking, do they still have these Inquisitors out there? Who was it they tried this with before Baby Yoda? Is it somebody we know? Is it just random Broom Kid?
Either Ahsoka doesn't know about it or she knows about it. There's only two options, right? So if she doesn't know about it, she's going to be concerned. And if she knows about it, she's going to be concerned that they're doing it again. Right. So either way, she's going to be concerned because she know. I mean, the Empire lost, but like if they're trying these experiments and they're using Jedi blood to enrich their soldiers and make them stronger, it's still going to be of concern to her because she's still got to survive too. She's a fucking she doesn't call herself a Jedi, but she's a Jedi. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see broom emoji in chat. Yeah, where is Broom Kid? But yeah, I think you make a great point. I mean, it's like there's only a couple of different scenarios. Like I'm really wondering if Ahsoka knows about this or not. Like that's going to be a big determining factor. But regardless, they're going to show up. They've tracked the Mando, and they're going to be in a shit situation. So stakes are huge. Like, and Helen, we discussed like all of these characters coming in the season, like some of this stuff kind of developing in later seasons. But we're here in episode 4 of season 2, and it's here already pretty much.
Yeah, so. But and the thing is, it's just 4 episodes left. Oh my god, no.
Oh, I don't want to think about that. Because all the other, WandaVision comes back in January. Witcher doesn't come back until next summer, but still, it goes by fast. 8 episodes.
It does, yeah. And they're short. So, I think the first 2 were not as short, but yeah.
But I think the next 4 episodes are going to be longer because that did happen in Mandalorian season 1. Like I said, the last 3 episodes were all 50 minutes and above. Yeah. So this episode might be like 40 minutes, but the next 3 will be like an hour, and that'll be awesome because I think the last 3 episodes shit's about to go pop off.
Oh, definitely. And we know John Carlo Esposito, whatever his name is, he said, he destroyed a few lightsabers fighting. Well, who would he fight? He literally has to fight Ashoka. So there will be next episode an epic. You know how I love my lightsaber fights. I live for that. So we know that will happen. I don't think this will be the last episode. I really do think it will, because they have the tracking device on the ship.
Ahsoka's using lightsabers next episode 100%.
Yeah. Yeah, and she has two, so it will. And as we know, the dark saber is a very different type of lightsaber. The Mandalore. I always want to say Mandalore the ultimate. It's Mandalore the. It's not the ultimate. That is Legends. What's his name? Mandalore. Whatever, the first Mandalorian Jedi. He created that, and it's it looks different than the normal lightsabers or even the dual-bladed ones. We know it's shorter, it's dark, as the name says.
It's not pure energy. It's actually a type of...
It's another crystal. Yeah. The crystal is different.
It's a very rare element.
Yeah, and so it's a... If I imagine it, it would be a cool fight, Ashoka with her two blades and him with a shorter lightsaber. But I do think all the Dark Troopers come into play then, and she is not just because if he's not force sensitive, she will literally destroy him in like a second. So there will be the Death Troopers coming in and a big army.
Well, they have the element of surprise too.
Yes, she doesn't. I mean, first of all, she's probably talking to the Mandalorian. Baby Yoda is there, and then boom, the reminiscent of the Empire is showing up. So
it's going to be so amazing. Rosario Dawson is a really great actress. I'm so excited to see how she looks like.
Oh my God. And I heard them say Lucasfilm, some employees from Lucasfilm responsible, for creating all the costumes. And they said they hesitated to have her kind. But I mean, we saw in the last season, we saw one of her kind there. It's hard to create.
Tanya from Game of Thrones played G, I believe her name.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's hard, to create all that, and because she must be moving a lot, and it will be a lot of action. So I can't wait to really see Ashoka in real life, because she became one one favorite characters.
Sassy as hell too. Rosario Dawson is perfect for that. She's gonna have a sassy, sarcastic.
And maybe the owl will still follow her. Maybe we'll get the owl. That would be so cool.
Got great animals so far. We have had great. Cara Dune has the ferret. Mando has a pet and Baby Yoda. Maybe Ahsoka has the owl. Fingers crossed. I know Kate Bertinsky is looking out for that. She always sends me whatever. It's a video game, pets, and all sorts of animals from whatever it is. So I hope for that too.
Yeah, but the owl connects it again to the greater universe, which, the story of the father, the son, and the daughter, which is my favorite part of actually Star Wars. That this all has a meaning, and this is the chosen one prophecy. The owl is still there. So maybe the owl will make a short cameo in The Mandalorian. That would be amazing.
So I think we agree. We pretty much all the cute animals, please. I think we all agree on that. I think we agree, Helen, that the past two episodes. I mean, they've all been pretty good. The second episode was kind of like an episode for me, but the last two episodes have been excellent. I mean, if the whole rest of the season is going to be better than this episode, it's going to be really good. So I mean, we were talking about what are some of the best shows on TV, and this is up there. So it keeps on getting better and better. We're really lucky, like you said, to have this right now when there isn't a lot on. And wow, this episode. Chat, this has been super fun having this discussion again. Of course, we're really excited to be back and talking about The Mandalorian. Next week, Helen, we have a special guest.
Ooh, who's coming? Aziz.
Sean Tanktop from the Burlington Bar is going to be joining us.
Oh, yay!
And he's been covering The Mandalorian on his channel, and he said he would love to come on and chat with us. So super excited, and he knows quite a bit about.
I think
Star Wars.
Met him. Did we not met him at Con of Thrones?
Yeah, and you guys might know Sean. He did all the awesome bar react. If you guys don't know who Sean Tanktop is, Burlington Bar on YouTube. He did all those reactions. The bar that did the show Game of Thrones?
Yeah, I know.
He's the bar that had all the Game of Thrones reactions.
I talked to him at Con of Thrones. Yeah, he's fun.
and their group is doing they're covering the Mandalorian on their channel. I'm going to be going on with them at some point, but Sean is going to be coming on from their group. Super excited to have him on. And I talked to Aziz. Aziz is going to be coming on probably 7 or 8. We'll probably have him on for the finale, because I think that'll be the most exciting. Yeah, and maybe we can even have Robert on. Robert's been watching The Mandalorian. I know he's busy, but he was in the chat. But yeah, this will be our first guest in a while, I think. So it'll be super fun to have someone else on. And I think the next episode there's going to be so much to talk about. It'll be super fun to have someone else on who's as excited to watch the episode as us. I was talking to Sean late last night for like an hour about what's going to happen in the next episode. So he knows his shit too. So it's going to be really exciting to have someone else on who knows Star Wars. But yeah, Helen, this has been a super fun episode. Let's do a shout out to some of the people in the chat before we go. Want to your voice is better than mine. You have the fun German voice, so you want to shout out some people in chat?
I do have a fun German voice. I never had somebody say that, but okay. Yeah, Jess, Kate, my girls, Maura Lee is still in there. The boys making fun. Yeah, and the boys making fun of everything. Peter Griffin, and every Tinkerbell, and everybody.
Rick is still watching. I know he's doing something, drinking coffee though. We love Rick as well.
Probably.
And we got to meet Rick at Con of Thrones too, so that was awesome.
Rick is so lovely. Seriously, Rick is one of the loveliest people I've met, and yeah. It was really good. Shout out to Rick. I am very excited to talk about what will probably be one of the best episodes. No expectations. Please don't disappoint the German.
And Giancarlo was teasing before the season. He did a bunch of kind of press dockets, and he did a bunch of interviews, and he was saying how excited he was to do choreography. And the fact that Giancarlo Esposito is excited about something, he's one of the best actors in the world, okay? Breaking Bad and some of his other roles. The fact that he's as excited as he is to get, like, just the way the enthusiasm that everybody is talking about with the show is this really friggin' cool. So it's been great, Helen. This episode was great, but like I said, we keep on raising the stakes ourselves. It's kind of our fault because we're such huge nerds and love Star Wars. 4.5 macaroons each for us on this episode. Lots of funny, great moments. And so we're gonna log off here, everyone. We really appreciate you watching. Helen, you want to tell everybody where they can find you?
Yeah, so I do have a channel where I talk a lot about very geeky, expanded Tolkien universe stuff. And as I always say, if you're just a regular Tolkien cinematic movie lover, or if you've read the 3 Lord of the Ring books, you might not get what you'd be like, what the F is this woman talking about on her channel. I do talk about stuff not everybody knows about. Let's call it the extended universe. Other books Tolkien wrote or started to write.
You talk about the Silmarillion a lot.
The Silmarillion, exactly. And so a lot of that content will play out in the new Amazon series that will one day drop. And knock on wood. And so find me on the Clueless Fangirl if you like Tolkien stuff that is a bit different from just the cinematic movies. And follow me on Instagram. I post funny Funko Star Wars related stuff on there. And that's it. But again, Star Wars is my second, and cat videos, exactly. Now that's on my private one. Don't follow me there.
I thought I was hallucinating earlier when your blinds were moving. I was like, what's going on? And then I realized there was a cat behind there because I could just see the little head. I could just see the little head of the cat.
In my real life, I'm a crazy cat lady. And so that is it. But yeah, if you're interested in Lord of the Rings, check out my channel. But I love talking Star Wars with
not
you.
your basic fangirl, Jess says. The Clueless Fangirl, you can find Helen's link to her YouTube channel. Please go subscribe, and also her social media in the description of the video. Easy, you can find it down there. The links are all there for you to find. Thanks, Helen, for co-hosting with me again. We missed the first couple episodes, but we've kind of made it up. Too good last time. Got our line here. We are discussing possibly doing a Star Wars Christmas special, maybe an extra episode that isn't just Mandalorian related. I know,
my God, we could watch the holiday special and talk about the. Have you seen it yet?
I have to rewatch it. It's been years. I don't remember anything.
No. Oh. There's a new one, the Lego one.
Oh, I could see how we could do a watch party. It would probably be difficult because of copyright and shit.
Yeah, we can talk about it and be dressed up in Christmas. I talked to Dan yesterday, and Dan has the coolest Christmas sweater ready. He'll wear it on some of our streams. Dan from oh God, what's his channel's name? Sorry.
Voice of Geekdom.
Voice of Geekdom, exactly. Sorry, it's very late, people. Voice of Geekdom. And he has the coolest Christmas sweater. And we sometimes talk on my channel about just Game of Thrones, about Lord of the Rings. So we can wear... sorry, it's very late. And we can talk about Star Wars, the Christmas special, the holiday special. That would be epic.
It would be epic. So we're talking about stuff like that. By the way, everyone, if you do want to support the channel, you can hit that join button. We do have a few joiners in chat. We have Morley and I believe Tinkerbell in here. If we get one more person to join, we get a new emoji. You can see all the emojis I'm spamming there right now. A Baby Yoda emoji and a Mando helmet. I don't know. I'll let you guys choose the next one. We could do more cool Star Wars animals or something Star Wars related. So if we get one more person to hit that join button, we get a new emoji unlocked. So every time more people join, I think it's like every four joiners, we get new emojis in the chat. So yeah, starts out at $4.99 a month. A great way to support the channel if you hit that join button. And also a link to my Patreon is in the description of the video. Of course, helps me continue to do this full time and make videos. So if you do want to support the channel, you don't have to though. Like I said, just you here watching or liking the video or subscribing is also a great way to support the channel. And I see Maura Lee has posted them all. There's a Gimli, if you see the Gimli one, the hype train. We have the Witcher White Wolf. We have the Ghost of Tsushima Fox, and then we have of course the other ones. But yeah, everybody who's watching in the United States, have a safe Thanksgiving. I hope that you're social distancing. Everybody else around the world that's watching, please wear your mask and be safe. This is still a time where the coronavirus is going around and still causing problems. So that is one message that we all have to relay to you, that we all agree on. Everybody stay safe and take care of yourselves. It is still 2020, one of the craziest years of all time. So thanks for watching, everyone. We really, really appreciate it. Thanks for me and Helen. Pound it. We got our Lion family energy here. We hope to see you all next weekend with Sean Tank Top and the return of Ahsoka. Thanks for watching, everyone, and we will see you all in the next video. Bye.